Well, I called it. At the very end of last year, I said I thought they were planning to do something on this plot of land at Cedar Point. Now, the crazy thing, though, is that I was just at Coastermania this year. And at Coastermania, we actually heard from Tony and asked, is there anything that's being planned on the development site of where the old dorms used to be? Someone actually asked that, and he said, no, there's nothing planned for that spot. But that is exactly where we're talking about today for Siren's Curse. So I'm at work today. I got the news really early this morning, but I also have to be at work very early, so I'm taking an early lunch this morning because I wanted to talk about all of this and try to get it out as quickly as I possibly can. It'll probably end up being this evening, but I do have a couple of different times when I have some free time today, unlike most days, but today I do have some. So anyway, this is incredibly exciting. I cannot believe that this is happening. I think this is going to be a great coaster for Cedar Point, and between all the different things that they are doing with this and then getting rid of Snake River Falls, it really seems like Cedar Point has a huge amount of momentum toward it. I really, when they were saying there's going to be some sort of a siren themed something, you know, they showed that teaser video. I was really expecting that it was going to be something smaller, something more akin to like some sort of a steampunk or like, I don't know, even an adult, like a more like sexy adult type of world, but space that's going to be on the island. That's what I was really expecting to see. That is not what they're doing, at least not that I'm seeing from this. I was thinking there could be a lot of different things, but you know, as far as any kind of real coaster goes, we'd already discovered the Snake River Falls was going to be going away. So I really was expecting the Snake River Falls would be the site that we'd hear about next, and especially that'd be the next coaster. So I was thinking maybe something more along the lines of an entertainment venue or some extra restaurants, or just maybe getting some additional flat rides. I was assuming that they had some sort of a deal with Zamperla so they get a couple flat rides, but I do have to wonder if maybe that's fallen through now, if they ever did have anything like that, which they may not have. But this is, I think, 10 times more exciting than anything I was considering for Cedar Point at this point. I really thought, based on the amount of money that they've spent on Top Thrill 2 this year, I really kind of thought that would be kind of the end of it for a couple of years. We wouldn't just get something brand new. I really have to wonder if with the merging of Six Flags with Cedar Fair, if that has freed up some cash, so they have this additional cash flow now, which gives them the ability to invest in their parks quite a bit more. I'm here at Taco Bell right now, so we're going to go grab some food and then I'll be right back. Also, sorry about my lack of branding. No hat. I wasn't quite expecting this to be as exciting of news as it was. I was expecting news today, just not as exciting as this is. All right, so love Taco Bell. It's nice to be able to have a cheap meal. First of all, let's talk about what this coaster is. So this is a tilt coaster, which looks terrifying, but also I'm sure it's going to be really fun. It's going to be one that's going to push me out of my comfort zone, and I'm glad for that. But I feel like if you can ride Valraven, you can ride this tilt coaster also. It's going to be a similar kind of a concept. Like basically it hangs you there and then you shoot down. It's only like 160 feet tall, I think, is what I read. It's not an incredibly tall coaster, but it is, again, in the tradition of Cedar Point, it is the tallest of its kind. That's kind of what they've done with every single thing. I mean, I think Wild Mouse was also the tallest of its kind. So everything that they've been doing ever since they've broken like basically all the records that they could has been now them building tallest of their kind coasters that are record breaking, but are only record breaking for a specific type of coaster. And that's the same thing here. It does look really fun. Basically it takes you straight up and then it tilts you sit on this platform, and the platform tilts you so that you go all the way forward and then you'll drop. Beyond that, there are also several really whippy looking inversions which look really fun. They're corkscrews and pretty low to the ground, so they're going to be going really fast. Also a vertical loop without the vertical loop part. It just kind of sets you up straight. And then also some just really cool looking, very Intamin slash RMC-esque inversions that kind of happen throughout the ride. Also, did I say anything about the underground portion? Because it's the only ride at Cedar Point that they have ever made that has an underground portion. But yeah, it looks like a really fun coaster. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, oh, well, like everything's going to change in the area. I am not sure that that's going to be true. Because I'm me, I've heard a lot of people already say, well, the celebration stage isn't there. They don't have the celebration stage. And that's true. I mean, I don't really see it on the renderings. Let's talk about three different things, first of all, that may be involved in that. First of all, when Cedar Point announced TT2, they didn't have the entire, risers that are there for people to sit on and to watch Top Thrill 2 go by. But they did decide to keep it ultimately. So, yes, the renderings didn't show it, but they did show it at other places. So, first of all, there's a precedent there for things being a little bit different. The renderings, especially where it involves things that are kind of in the periphery, are not always going to be included. Add to that the stage is really kind of an impermanent stage. It took over the space that used to be an extra line for Iron Dragon. I know maybe today it doesn't feel like Iron Dragon would need a bigger line, although often the line does spill out into the queue. But that space was taken over for the stage to be there. So they may just not be including that stage there at all, because basically their 3D model of Cedar Point for these videos and stuff like that just doesn't include it. So, because it's not a permanent structure of Cedar Point. It's a thing that can be assembled, disassembled, or changed as it needs to be changed for depending on what kinds of entertainment they have per season. Years ago, they used to have a laser show that happened right in front of the train station. So things can be moved and changed around as much as they want them to, so that they can do different things. Secondly, they could be changing the location of the stage, especially after the popularity of Boardwalk Nights this last year. I could 100% see them taking up that entire space. It's just a massive opening over right across from Wild Mouse. In that entire boardwalk area, there'd be lots of space to watch a show from. You could even watch a show from on top of the pavilion there, and look down, so it'd almost be like balcony seating to be able to watch a show from. There'd be lots of space there that they could do some different things with if they wanted to. So relocation is not something that's impossible. Not to mention that there's just tons of extra stage space around the park. You have the Jack Aldrich Theater. You have lots of open spaces here and there. There are a couple of, there's like another big stage inside of Frontier Town that's been utilized for certain things in the past also. You have Lusty Lils. So just dependent on what they want to do and how they want to do it, there's lots of flexibility there for them to change what they might want to do. First of all, I'm not convinced that it's moving at all. And secondly, I don't know that there's any cause to worry about any kind of change in any way at all either. But on top of that, I also think it's very possible that they could take that stage, turn it around the other way, just like I've been suggesting for years, and that this new coaster would fly right up over the top of it. It would give an option for even having fireworks out on the lake back behind it. There could be a lot of options there. It would also get people off of the main walkway, and it would move that stage back a little bit. You're not going to see renderings for any of that at this point yet, and that's also obviously not the big ticket thing. That's not the reason why people are like across the country talking about this coaster right now. It would be something that would come to light later. If it does, then that's great. We'll find out more about this later, and as we do, I will talk to you guys about what's actually happening. But I do think this coaster looks really, really cool. I'm very excited about the possibility of it. I think Cedar Point has some momentum behind it right now that seems really exciting, and I think this coaster is going to kind of push both me and a lot of other people outside of their comfort zones. And I think that's part of the fun, of the thrill of these bigger coasters. I do think it looks scary, but then beyond that, the inversions and the larger scale of it looks really, really cool. Like, it looks really fun. It's very it would fit very well right next to Valraven. It's a very similar type of a coaster, and given the ability of having all of these coasters one by one next to each other, I think it could really make for a great amount of excitement for Cedar Point. Also, if you look at this picture right here, you can see exactly how Cedar Point is going to be rerouting the road that used to go by the dorms and right next to Cedar Point. So they're really adding a massive amount of space, just like I said they would. So I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but also the existence of this little outbuilding makes me think maybe Halloween's horror house, which could be really cool. A Siren themed horror house. I'm into it. I do think it's funny that Tony was literally asked the question of what's happening in that area, and he was like, we don't have any plans for that. And then this comes to light. It's like, you liar. But what do you expect for the mouthpiece of the company? I mean, PR is all about bringing up hype. It's not all about the truth, not by any means. And so, I mean, I'm not mad at Tony about it. I just think it's funny. So, I'm very excited about this overall. Tell me what you guys think. Is this something that you are excited about? What would you like to see happen with the stage? What would you like to see happen in the area? Is there a theme that you would like to see? When you've already got Iron Dragon, and then you've got this, I mean, I could see kind of like a nautical, like, Old West theme, Nautical West, something like that. A nautical steampunk, maybe. And I think that would lead very well into the park also, back onto the Frontier Trail. I think Frontier Trail could really bleed well into this to have something, but that whole celebration stage area has been very nondescript in the last couple of years. I could also see there being actually like a cool like siren show, and there's a couple places that have had it. SeaWorld has had a siren show, and then also Las Vegas used to have a siren show. So I have some examples of even what could be as the siren show or the idea around that area. But yeah, as far as stages go, those stages are very easy to assemble and disassemble and put in different places. And, but even then, Cedar Point is building something away from, on the opposite side of where Iron Dragon is. The celebration stage is where Iron Dragon used to be. So, or where the queue for Iron Dragon used to be. So they could easily take little parts of a queue, change it around if they needed to, or I'm really just thinking that stage just is something that's going to still be there. It's just not there for the rendering specifically because it's not something that's a permanent part of Cedar Point. So anyway, though, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Again, theming, all that kind of stuff. Tell me what you think. Are you excited about this? I'm very excited. I'm excited to see what Cedar Point actually does. And I do kind of feel like this is a new era for Cedar Point, where we're getting into a lot of coasters again, often being made. And there's just some momentum that I haven't seen since I was a kid for Cedar Point, where there's just a lot of additional growth happening, a lot of excitement surrounding Cedar Point itself. So yeah, I'm excited about it. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments one way or another. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. I provide new videos about Cedar Point pretty much every day. And if it's not Cedar Point, then it's another place also. I do go to other theme parks too, and I love to talk about them and discuss kind of how to get the most out of your day and discuss some news, things like that. So thank you guys so much for watching today. Press that like button and let's go. Also, Casey Wood, thank you so much for your support of the channel. And oh my word, Casey. Hey, thanks for watching. I release theme park related videos at least a couple times a week, so press that subscribe button if you made it this far. Also, check out similar videos in the playlist to the right or find my newest video to the left. Thanks again, and let's go.